The night was quiet, only the sound of water moving slowly through the river. The moon was bright above, casting silver light on the dark surface. A man named Daniel walked along the riverbank. His hands in his pockets, he often came here when he felt lonely. The river always calmed his restless thoughts, but tonight something was different as he stepped closer to the edge. He heard a sound that froze him in place. It was soft at first, but clear. A cry, not the cry of an animal, not the cry of a bird. It was the cry of a baby. Daniel's heart beat faster. He looked around. The banks were empty, the trees stood silent, and the small town behind him slept in peace. Yet the cry grew louder, carried by the wind. It seemed to come from the river itself. He leaned forward, eyes searching the dark water. At first he saw nothing, then the moonlight revealed something unusual. A small shape floating, moving with the current. It looked like a basket, and from it came the soft, heartbreaking cries. Daniel's first thought was impossible. A baby here in the river, who would abandon a child like this? He rushed down the muddy slope, slipping, his shoes soaking in the cold water. With trembling hands, he grabbed the basket before the current pulled it away. He lifted it up, water dripping from the sides. His breath caught in his throat. Inside was indeed a baby, but not like any human child he had ever seen. The small body glowed faintly, as if tiny lights danced beneath its skin. Its eyes, wide and filled with tears, reflected the stars above. The baby's little hands reached out weakly, crying for warmth, for comfort. For someone to hold it, Daniel stumbled back. His mind racing. What was this, an abandoned child or something more? He had read stories of strange sightings, rumors of visitors from the stars, but never had he believed them until now. The baby shivered, and Daniel's fear battled against his humanity. No matter what it was, no matter where it came from, it was still a baby, helpless and crying. He removed his jacket quickly, wrapping the child to keep it warm. The glowing skin dimmed slightly, as if the baby felt safer in his arms. He looked up and down the river, hoping to see someone, anyone, who might explain this, but the river was silent. Only the sound of flowing water answered him. He felt a cold chill run down his spine. Was someone watching him right now? Had someone left the baby here on purpose? His instincts told him to run. To leave it there, it was not his problem. It was not his child. But another part of him, stronger and louder, told him that walking away would mean leaving it to die, and that was something he could never do. The baby cried again, softer this time, almost like a plea. Daniel pressed it closer to his chest, whispering gently, "It's okay. I've got you." His voice shook. Not sure if the baby even understood, but strangely, the glowing eyes blinked and calmed. For a moment, Daniel stood frozen by the water. His life had always been simple, ordinary. He lived alone, worked quietly, spoke to few people. Now, in one strange moment, everything had changed. He was holding something not of this world, something that could change everything. A sound in the distance made him spin. Leaves rustled, a branch snapped. His eyes searched the shadows. The night felt heavier now, filled with unseen eyes. Was someone following the basket? Was he already discovered? Fear gripped him, but he tightened his hold on the baby. He could not stay here. He had to move. He had to protect it. His heart told him that danger was near. Daniel hurried up the bank, his breath quick and heavy. The baby whimpered but stayed wrapped in his jacket. He glanced back at the dark river, wondering if the water carried secrets he would never understand. By the time he reached the road, sweat covered his forehead. His legs shook, not from the weight but from the unknown future pressing against him. What had he just brought into his life? A mystery, a curse, or maybe a miracle? He did not know the answer, but he knew one thing. Leaving the baby there was impossible. He stepped into the night, carrying the glowing child toward his home, unaware that far above in the darkness of the stars, eyes were already watching, waiting and following. Daniel's footsteps echoed softly as he entered his small wooden house. He closed the door quickly, his hand trembling on the lock. The baby lay in his arms, wrapped tightly in his jacket, glowing faintly like a hidden lantern. His home was quiet, too quiet. He looked around at the old furniture, the dim lamp in the corner, and wondered if this place could keep a secret so strange. The baby whimpered, a sound that cut through the silence like a knife. He set the basket on the table and unwrapped the child. The glowing skin shimmered under the lamp's light, not blinding but soft. Like the stars in the night sky, the baby blinked, its large eyes reflecting colors he had never seen before, not just blue or green, but shades that shifted like liquid light. Daniel took a deep breath. His first thought was simple. This baby was hungry. He walked to the kitchen, grabbed a small bottle of milk he sometimes kept for tea. He warmed it and brought it back, but doubt filled his mind. Would an alien baby drink human milk? The baby cried again. Reaching tiny hands toward him, Daniel hesitated, then placed the bottle near its lips. To his surprise, the child latched on quickly, drinking hungrily. The glow on its skin softened. The cries stopped, and Daniel felt a strange relief wash over him. He sat down beside the table, watching as the baby finished. Its breathing slowed, eyes half closing. Then something unexpected happened. The baby's tiny hand touched his wrist, and for a brief moment, Daniel felt warmth spread through his arm. It was not just warmth, but something deeper, like a connection pulling at his very heart. He pulled back slightly, startled, his pulse raced. This was no ordinary child, its very presence seemed alive with energy. He looked toward the window nervously, afraid someone might have seen the glow through the thin curtains. Daniel rose, carried the baby into his small bedroom, and placed it gently on the bed. The child curled into the blanket, looking peaceful. Yet every time Daniel tried to step away, the glow dimmed and the baby whimpered, forcing him to return. It was as if the child could sense his absence. The clock ticked past midnight. Daniel sat beside the bed, unable to sleep. His thoughts circled like restless birds. If anyone found out about this, they might take the baby away. Authorities would question him, scientists would dissect it, and shadowy groups might hunt it. He clenched his fists. He could not allow that to happen outside. The wind howled softly through the trees. Daniel leaned back, his eyes closing for a moment. Suddenly, a faint hum filled the air. He opened his eyes, scanning the room. The baby was glowing brighter now, as if responding to something unseen. Its small body lifted slightly off the blanket. Floating just an inch, Daniel's breath caught. He reached out quickly, pulling the child back into his arms. The glow faded, the floating stopped. The baby nestled into his chest, heart beating fast but calm. Daniel whispered, "What are you, little one?" His voice was shaky, but soft. The baby gave no answer, only pressed its head against him. Hours passed slowly. The night stretched long, but Daniel remained awake. Half fear, half wonder. He had never felt so responsible, so needed. It was terrifying, but also strangely comforting. By dawn, the first rays of light slipped through the window. Daniel had not slept, his eyes were heavy, but his arms still held the baby tightly. He rose, pacing the small room. The world outside was waking, neighbors preparing for their day. He knew he could not let anyone see, not yet. Suddenly, a sound outside the house made him freeze. It was faint but real. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, crunching against the gravel path. Daniel's chest tightened. He moved to the window carefully, pulling the curtain just enough to peek. The street was empty. Only the pale light of morning and swaying branches. Yet the sound had been real, he was sure of it. His skin prickled with unease. Someone had been there. Someone was already looking. Daniel looked back at the baby. Still sleeping in his arms, he whispered to himself, "This is only the beginning." And deep down, he knew he was right. The morning passed in silence. Daniel had drawn the curtains closed, leaving only a faint light inside the house. He moved carefully, keeping the baby close. His mind replayed the sound of footsteps from last night. The thought that someone had been outside made his chest tighten. By noon, the baby stirred awake, glowing faintly again. Daniel tried to calm it with soft words. He felt like he had entered a life he never imagined. A secret world where danger could appear at his door any moment. He prepared a small bowl of warm milk, watching as the baby drank slowly, its eyes reflecting colors that were not of this earth. The hours crawled by. Daniel's nerves frayed with each sound outside. Every car that passed made him tense. Every bark of a dog felt like a warning. He had thought he could hide the baby, but already the weight of fear pressed on him. Then came the knock. It was gentle at first. 3 slow taps against the wooden door. Daniel froze in place, his heart hammered. He looked down at the baby, who seemed to sense the sound too. Its glow flickered, its tiny hands clutching the blanket tighter. The knock came again, louder this time. Daniel swallowed hard, moving toward the door. He stood still, listening, hoping the stranger might leave. But then a voice drifted through the wood, soft and pleading. "Please open, we are not here to harm you." Daniel's hands trembled on the lock. He whispered to himself, "Who are you?" He hesitated, then pulled the curtain slightly aside. His breath caught. 2 women stood outside, their figures tall, cloaked in fabric that shimmered faintly under the sunlight. Their faces were pale but not sickly instead. Their features were sharp and beautiful. Not human, but something beyond. Their eyes glowed faintly, the same as the baby's. Daniel's first instinct was to step back. He had found the baby alone in the river. And now these women had appeared. Were they its family? Or were they here to take it for reasons he could not understand? The baby let out a soft cry, a sound that pierced the air immediately. The women's faces changed. Their eyes widened, filled with emotion. One of them lifted her hand as if reaching toward the sound. The other whispered, "The child," her voice cracked. Heavy with desperation, Daniel's grip tightened around the baby. He opened the door only slightly, just enough to see them clearer. The women's cloaks fell back a little, revealing strange markings on their skin, glowing faint lines that looked like constellations. They were beautiful, but also frightening in their difference. "We are searching," the first woman said, her voice calm but urgent. "Our child was lost. Taken by the river's current, please, we beg you. Let us see." Daniel's mind raced. Were these truly the parents? Or something else? He had no proof, no reason to trust them. But the baby in his arms reacted, its glow brightened, and it stretched its tiny arms toward the women. As if it knew them, the second woman stepped closer. Her eyes sharp and cautious, unlike the first. She did not look at Daniel with gratitude, but with suspicion, as though she feared him. She said, "How did you find our child? Why were you near the river at night?" Her voice held accusation. Daniel stiffened, his protective instincts rising. "I found it floating," he said firmly. "It was alone. I saved it. You should be thanking me." The first woman placed her hand gently on the second's arm. Calming her, she turned back to Daniel, her eyes soft, shimmering with tears. "We thank you truly, but you must understand. Our child is not safe here. We are not safe here." The words cut through him. Daniel knew they were hiding something. The way they looked around nervously. The way their voices carried both fear and urgency. It was clear they were being hunted. Yet still Daniel hesitated. Trust was not easy. He had risked everything by bringing the baby home, and now strangers stood at his door demanding it. The baby whimpered again, glowing brighter. Daniel felt the warmth of its small body against him. He looked into its strange eyes and felt a bond stronger than logic, stronger than fear. "Why was it alone in the river?" Daniel asked sharply. "If you care so much, why did you let this happen?" The question silenced them. The first woman's lips trembled as if the truth was too painful to speak. The second woman's eyes hardened, but she stayed quiet. Finally, the first whispered, "Because they were coming for us, we had no choice. We thought hiding the child would keep it safe. We prayed someone kind would find it." Her voice broke at the end. Her body trembling, Daniel stared at them. His chest ached. He wanted to believe her, but doubt still gnawed at his mind. Outside, the world looked normal, yet he could feel it. Shadows were already moving closer. The women stood there, waiting for his answer. The baby clung to him tighter, its glow pulsing like a heartbeat. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. The choice before him was clear but terrifying. Trust the strangers or risk facing something far darker alone. And from somewhere in the distance, carried faintly on the wind, came the low hum of engines, not of cars, but of machines that did not belong to Earth. Daniel stood in the doorway, the baby glowing faintly in his arms. The two alien women faced him, their cloaks swaying softly in the breeze. Their eyes shone with desperation, but also with secrets. He could feel it. They were not telling him everything. The baby stretched its tiny hands toward them, as if it recognized them. The first woman, the gentler one, whispered in a trembling voice, "Please, he is ours. Give him back." Her eyes glistened with tears that shimmered like liquid silver. Daniel's jaw tightened. His grip on the baby grew firmer. "If he is yours, then why was he left to drown?" His words cut through the silence, sharp and cold. The second woman stepped forward quickly, her gaze sharp as a blade. "We had no choice," she hissed. We were hunted. Our enemies were near. To protect him, we let the river carry him to safety. We prayed the currents would bring him to someone with mercy." Daniel's heart pounded. He wanted to believe, but doubt gnawed at him. How could a mother abandon her child to the unknown? Even for protection. He looked down at the baby, its glowing skin pulsing gently as it stared at him with strange, trusting eyes. The first woman raised her hand slowly, showing her palms. "You saved him," she said softly. "You risked yourself. That means you have a heart. We only ask you to risk it again. Help us keep him safe, shelter us just for a little while. Until it is safe to leave, Daniel stepped back, his mind swirling. Shelter them, keep them here. If anyone saw, if anyone found out, his life would be ruined. The neighbors, the authorities, whoever those hunters were, he would be crushed between them all. But when he looked at the baby, the thought of letting it go twisted like a knife inside him. The child had clung to him in the night, had calmed only when he whispered to it. It trusted him, and for reasons he did not understand. He trusted it back. I can't, Daniel whispered, shaking his head. If I keep you here, they will come for me too. I am only a man. What can I do against enemies from the stars? The second woman's eyes blazed. You already chose when you lifted him from the river, human. You bound yourself to him the moment you saved his life. Her voice was sharp, almost cruel, but beneath it lay truth. Daniel's breath caught. He knew she was right. From the moment he pulled the basket from the current, he had stepped onto a path he could not leave. The only question now was how far he was willing to walk. The first woman placed her hand on her chest and bowed her head. We do not ask you to fight for us, only to give us time, a single night, a roof to hide under. That is all we need. Daniel studied her. He saw no lies in her trembling expression, only fear, pain, and hope. The second woman stayed silent now, her sharpness dimmed by exhaustion. Her eyes darted toward the baby, softening only when they rested on its glow. The baby shifted in his arms, cooing softly. Daniel looked down and felt the weight of the choice pressing against him. If he said no, he would hand the child back and close the door. But could he live with the thought of what might happen after? If they were hunted, the baby would be hunted too. He exhaled slowly, his voice low. One night, that's all. After that, you leave. And you take him with you. The first woman's face brightened with relief. Thank you, she whispered. Her voice broke as she wiped her tears. The second woman said nothing, but her sharp eyes softened slightly, a flicker of respect showing for the man who had chosen trust despite fear. Daniel stepped aside, allowing them in. The moment they crossed the threshold, he felt the weight of his choice settle in his chest. His house, once quiet and lonely, was now filled with secrets that could shatter his world. Inside, the women lowered their hoods, revealing more of their strange beauty. Their hair shimmered faintly, as though each strand caught hidden starlight. The markings on their skin glowed softly like maps of galaxies. Daniel stared, unable to look away. He had never seen anything so otherworldly. So alive, the baby reached for them, and the first woman gently took him, cradling him with trembling arms. A deep sigh of relief escaped her lips, her body shaking as though a great burden had been lifted. The second woman stayed alert, her eyes still scanning the windows. Still mistrustful, Daniel crossed his arms, leaning against the table. Now you owe me the truth, he said firmly. Who is after you? And why should I risk my life for you at all? The first woman looked at him with sorrow. Because if they find us, they will not stop at us. They will not stop at him. They will come for anyone who helps. And if you close your door now, you may think you are safe. But they will come anyway. Her words sank into Daniel's chest like stones in water. He realized there was no safe choice left. No matter what he did, danger had already found him. Outside, the wind carried a low hum through the air. The same sound he had heard the night before. Faint but growing stronger, Daniel's heart sank. He whispered under his breath, "They're already here." The evening air was heavy. Daniel sat by the small window, the curtains drawn tight. The two alien women rested quietly in the corner of the room, their cloaks wrapped around them. The baby lay in the arms of the gentler woman, glowing faintly like a hidden star. For a moment, the house seemed calm, but Daniel's chest was tight with unease. He could still hear the faint hum outside. Carried on the wind, it was not the sound of a car, nor the engine of any machine he knew. It was deeper, stranger. Like a vibration that shook the ground itself, he knew it meant danger was near. The second woman's sharp eyes flickered to him. "You hear it too," she whispered. Her tone was not a question, but a warning. Daniel nodded. "They're coming." "Aren't they?" The first woman hugged the baby tighter, her voice trembling. "They've tracked us. They won't stop. They will search every house, every shadow, until they find him." Daniel clenched his fists. Fear twisted inside him. He wanted to believe this was not his fight. But the truth was clear. By saving the baby, by sheltering them, he was already part of it. If the hunters came, they would not spare him. The night deepened. Shadows stretched across the walls outside. Faint lights flickered in the distance, not lanterns, not headlights, but strange beams scanning the ground like searching eyes. Daniel felt his throat go dry. He stood quickly, moving to the door. "I have to see," he muttered. He slipped outside, the cool night air biting against his skin. From behind the bushes at the edge of the road, he saw them. 2 black vehicles stood at the far end of the lane, silent and sleek, unlike anything made in his town. Men stepped out, dressed in dark uniforms, their movements precise. They carried devices that glowed with strange blue light. Sweeping the ground, scanning for something. Daniel's heart raced. He ducked lower. His house was just one among many, but it felt like a target painted bright in the night. Inside, the second woman had moved to the window, her voice low but steady. "Hunters, they are here." The first woman closed her eyes tightly, whispering something in a language Daniel could not understand. The baby stirred, its glow flickering as if it too could sense the danger. Daniel rushed back inside, shutting the door quickly. "They're close," he whispered. His voice was tense. "If they find you, what happens to me?" The sharp-eyed woman answered coldly. "They will take you too, and you will not live to tell what you saw." Daniel's chest tightened. He looked around his small home, suddenly realizing how fragile it was. Thin walls, old wood, no lock strong enough to keep out men with strange machines, he whispered. "Then we can't stay here." The first woman looked at him, eyes wide. "Where can we go? We have no ship. No safe place." Daniel's mind raced. He thought of the old storage shed behind his house, built from stone and hidden by tall weeds. It had not been used in years, but it was stronger than these thin walls. "We'll hide there," he said quickly. "At least until they pass." The second woman narrowed her eyes. "Why do you help us, human? You could give us away." "Save yourself," Daniel's gaze hardened. "Because I won't hand over a child to hunters, not to anyone." His voice shook, but his words were steady. The woman studied him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. Not of trust, but of acknowledgement. They moved quickly, wrapping the baby in Daniel's jacket to dim its glow. The women followed him out the back door. Silent as shadows, the night air was tense, the hum of the vehicles growing louder. Lights swept across the road, sliding closer. Every step felt like thunder in Daniel's ears. His heart pounded as he led them through the tall grass. The shed loomed ahead, half broken, but hidden well enough. He pulled open the heavy door, the hinges groaning softly, and gestured them inside. The women entered quickly, the baby cradled close. Daniel followed, shutting the door behind them. Inside it was dark, the smell of old wood and dust filling the air. They crouched low, waiting. Moments later, beams of blue light washed across the fields outside. Daniel pressed his back against the wall, hardly daring to breathe. Through a crack in the wood, he saw the hunters. Their faces were hidden under masks, their devices clicking and humming, scanning every inch of the ground. One of them stopped near the shed. Holding up his scanner, the device beeped softly. Daniel's heart leapt into his throat. The baby whimpered faintly. The women held their breath. The hunter tilted his head, staring at the shed for a long, terrible moment. Then, another voice called from the distance, harsh and metallic. The man turned, lowered his scanner, and walked away. Daniel exhaled slowly, sweat dripping down his forehead. His chest ached from holding his breath so long. The baby nestled quietly again, its glow dimming. The danger had passed for now, but Daniel knew the truth. They were not safe here, not tonight, not ever. He looked at the women, his voice low. "They'll be back. We can't stay." "We need a plan." The second woman's eyes met his, sharp and unyielding. "Then tomorrow, human, you must decide. Will you run with us or stand against them?" The night stretched endlessly. Daniel could not close his eyes. The shed was dark, the air heavy with dust. The 2 alien women sat close together, the baby resting in their arms. Every time the child stirred, Daniel's chest tightened, afraid the glow would give them away. The hunters had left for now, but Daniel knew it was not over. He had seen the way they moved. Silent and precise, they were not ordinary men. They were trained. They would return. As the hours crawled toward dawn, Daniel's mind raced. He had never fought anyone before, never stood against danger greater than small-town troubles, yet now, he was the only barrier between these strangers and the shadows that hunted them. The sharp-eyed woman finally broke the silence. "You cannot hide us forever, human." Her voice was steady. "Soon they will search again. This time, they will tear down every wall until they find us." Daniel looked at her, his eyes tired but burning. Then I won't let them take you." His words were simple, but his tone carried something firm. The gentler woman shook her head softly. "You will be killed, they are too many. Too strong." Daniel leaned forward, resting his hands on his knees. "Maybe, but I can slow them, I can give you a chance. If I do nothing, they win. If I fight, maybe we all live," the baby cooed softly. Reaching a small, glowing hand toward him, Daniel took it gently, feeling the strange warmth flow into his skin again. In that moment, his fear seemed to lessen, replaced by something stronger. As the sun began to rise, a low hum filled the air again. This time it was closer. The ground trembled slightly. Daniel stood, his chest tightening. "They're here." Through the cracks in the shed, faint beams of blue light swept across the field. The hunters were back, moving in formation, scanning everything. Their voices carried in the air, sharp and cold. The sharp-eyed woman gripped Daniel's arm. "You cannot fight them alone." Daniel pulled free, determination etched on his face. "I won't be alone." He looked at both women, then at the baby. "You're with me now, we stand together." He slipped outside quietly. Crouching low in the tall grass, the hunters were fanning out. Their devices clicking, Daniel's heart pounded. He had no weapons, only his wits. He thought quickly. His shed was old, filled with metal scraps, tools and fuel. If he used them right, maybe he could create a distraction. He crept back inside, gathering a rusted can of fuel and some rags. The women watched silently, confusion on their faces. Daniel whispered, "If I can draw them away, you run, take the baby and go, don't look back." The gentler woman's eyes filled with tears. "And you?" Daniel forced a small smile, though his hand shook. "I'll manage." Moments later, the hunters drew closer, scanning the shed. Daniel lit the rag, the small flame flickering in the dark. He whispered a prayer under his breath, then hurled the burning can through the back window of his house. The explosion was small, but the fire caught quickly. Flames rose into the sky, smoke billowing upward. The hunters turned at once, their scanners flashing, shouts echoing in the night. They ran toward the burning house, their formation breaking. Daniel's plan worked, but not for long. One of the hunters spotted movement near the shed. His masked face turned, device humming. Daniel cursed under his breath. Grabbing a heavy iron pipe from the floor, he stepped into the open, swinging with all his strength. The pipe struck the hunter's arm, knocking the scanner away. The man staggered back, stunned. Daniel's chest heaved. He had never hit anyone before, his hands trembled. But he forced himself to stand firm. The second hunter rushed him. Daniel ducked. The pipe clashing against armor, sparks flew. Pain shot through his side as a blow landed. But he gritted his teeth and swung again. Inside the shed, the baby cried loudly, the glow spilling through the cracks. The hunters turned their heads, drawn to the light. The sharp-eyed woman burst from the door, her hands glowing with strange energy. She thrust them forward, and a wave of force rippled through the air, knocking two hunters off their feet. The gentler woman followed, clutching the baby close, her voice chanting in their strange language. The glow around the child brightened, spreading like a shield. Daniel staggered, blood on his lip, but he stood beside them, pipe still in hand. His voice was raw but steady. "If you want them, you go through me." The hunters regrouped, their masks reflecting the fire behind them. More shadows moved in the distance. Reinforcements coming. The odds were hopeless, yet Daniel felt no fear now. He felt only the weight of his choice. The choice to stand. The baby's glow spread wider, wrapping around Daniel like a warm light. His wounds burned, but the pain eased. His arms steadied. The aliens looked at him with new eyes, seeing not just a man, but someone willing to fight for them without question. The hunters advanced again, their strange weapons raised. Daniel tightened his grip on the pipe. His voice rose, loud and defiant. "Then come." And for the first time in his life, Daniel stood not as a lonely man, but as a protector. The night was alive with fire and light. Daniel stood at the edge of the shed, gripping the iron pipe in his hands. His chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. Around him, the glow of the alien child spread like a shield, wrapping him in warmth that felt both strange and comforting. The hunters advanced in a tight formation, their weapons raised. Their masks reflected the flames from Daniel's burning house. Blue lights pulsed from their scanners, trying to pierce through the shield of light that the baby created. The sharp-eyed woman stood beside Daniel, her hands glowing with raw energy. The gentler woman held the child close, whispering words in her strange tongue. The baby's glow pulsed brighter, each cry shaking the air. Daniel knew they could not hold out forever. He had no training, no weapons, only his determination, but in that moment, something had shifted inside him. He was no longer just a man standing against strangers. He was standing as a father protecting a child. The hunters moved closer. One of them raised a weapon. A beam of energy shot forward, striking the ground near Daniel's feet. Dirt and stone exploded upward. Daniel stumbled but did not fall. He raised the pipe and shouted, "You'll have to kill me first." The sharp-eyed woman extended her arms, sending a blast of force that knocked two hunters backward. But more poured in from the darkness. The shed shook with the sounds of their steps. The air buzzed with the hum of their weapons. Daniel's arms ached, his body bruised, but he fought with everything he had. He swung the pipe, striking another hunter. The blow landed against the mask, cracking it. The figure fell, sparks flying from the strange device it carried. The gentler woman cried out, "We cannot stay. We must go now." Her voice was desperate. She held the baby tighter, its glow blinding. The child's light surged outward, flooding the field with brilliance. The hunters staggered, shielding their eyes. Daniel gasped, blinded for a moment, but then he saw it. The light was not just light, it was power. The baby's glow rippled like waves. Bending the air itself, the hunters' scanners shattered. Their weapons sparked and died. The field fell into silence. Only the crackle of flames remained. The hunters retreated slowly, dragging their wounded. Their masks turned once more toward Daniel, but there was hesitation now. They had faced something they could not understand, something stronger than their machines. And then, one by one, the vehicles started, humming low. The hunters climbed inside. Retreating into the night, their blue lights faded, swallowed by the darkness. Daniel collapsed to his knees, his chest burning. His arms trembled as the pipe slipped from his hands. The sharp-eyed woman caught him before he fell completely. Her expression, once cold and mistrusting, was now filled with something else, respect. The gentler woman stepped closer, the baby still glowing in her arms. She lowered her head to Daniel. "You saved us," she whispered. "You saved him." Her voice broke, her silver tears dripping onto the ground. Daniel coughed, wiping blood from his lip. "No," he said weakly. "He saved me." He looked at the child, whose bright eyes met his. For a moment, man and child stared at one another, and Daniel felt something deeper than words. The sharp-eyed woman spoke, her voice softer now. "You risked your life for those you did not know. Few of your kind would do the same." Daniel gave a tired smile. "I wasn't about to let a baby suffer, not on my watch." The women exchanged a glance, silent words passing between them. Then the gentler woman stepped forward, holding the child toward Daniel. The baby reached for him, tiny glowing fingers brushing his hand. A warmth filled Daniel's chest, steadying his breath, easing his pain. The woman said softly, "He knows you now. He trusts you. You are part of him." Daniel took the baby carefully. Pressing it close, the glow wrapped around him again. For the first time in years, he did not feel alone. He felt needed, wanted, and alive. As dawn broke, the first light of morning spilled across the fields. Smoke drifted from his ruined house, but Daniel did not look back. He looked forward at the child in his arms, and at the two women who stood beside him. The sharp-eyed woman nodded. "We will not forget this night, human. You are one of us now." The gentler woman placed her hand on his shoulder, her eyes shining. "If you choose, we will stay. You gave us safety. We will give you family." Daniel swallowed hard, his eyes stinging. He had lived alone for so long, never believing his life could change, but now, standing in the morning light with a glowing child in his arms and two strangers who had become more than strangers, he felt a new beginning, he whispered almost to himself. "Forever changed," the baby cooed softly, its glow flickering gently. Daniel smiled, tired but strong. He knew the world would never be the same. He knew danger would come again. But he also knew this: he would never face it alone.